Hey there, what's going on? I'm Andy, I'm a self-taught programmer, and in this video, I just want to talk quickly about why your study habits probably suck and why they're leading to you feeling frustrated and wanting to quit. And I'm sort of kind of getting to this point now where I've seen so many people make so many mistakes, like so many easy mistakes when it comes to their study time, the time that they're putting and applying to becoming a self-taught programmer, that I just wanted to get it off my chest for a lot of you guys who are really messing up in this area. So look, if you're new here, if you're wondering who I am, I'm Andy Sterkwitz. I'm a self-taught programmer. I help people become self-taught developers. I teach them the skills that are necessary. I really help them build learning strategies as well as strategies to land that first job. So I highly recommend subscribing below and make sure to hit the bell icon to get notifications anytime I put out a new video. So look, I've talked to so many people at this point and I see the same problems over and over again. And look, a lot of it comes down to the fact that people just don't know how to study. They don't know how to learn something new. A classic example of this is people want to learn programming and they start buying up Udemy courses, right? And they collect Udemy courses, or they collect books, or they collect YouTube videos, like who knows what they collect, but they just watch as much material as they can. And they don't have a clear idea of what they're trying to do. So when you buy so many courses, when you buy so many learning materials, there's never a clear focus. You're just picking one and then the other and then the other. And a lot of people's expectations is that they're gonna somehow go to an interview someday and the interview is gonna be like, hey, so how many books have you read? And you're gonna be like, I've read 30 books, sir. And the interviewer is gonna go like, oh, you're hired, you read 30 books? Great, come join our company. That's not the case, right? Like it goes so far beyond what you've learned in an academic sense. You have to be able to implement what you've learned. So here's my big thing, okay? Anytime that you sit down to study or to code to improve your skills as a developer, you have to have a clear focus about what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing, you're sitting down to do, right? Here's a bad way to approach learning. Sitting in front of your computer, sitting in front of a tutorial of a book, opening it up and just going, okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, guys. Let's see what comes out of the book today. Let's see what I'm gonna learn today. Instead, what you should be doing is, let's say you're building one of your projects in your portfolio. If you're sitting down to build a project in your portfolio, you should have a laundry list of things that project needs to get done, right? Maybe you need to, if you're just starting out, maybe you need to wireframe and build a mock-up of what that website will look like. Maybe you need to work on some small piece of functionality, like there's a login, and so you just need to create the pop-up modal, the HTML and CSS for that. Maybe you need to create the backend functionality for that login. Maybe you need to attach a database or create a database and create your first table. But you should know, anytime that you sit down, you should have a clear idea of what you're doing. And guess what? If you sit down and you have no idea what you're doing, right? You sit down and you're like, I don't know what I should be doing today, it's totally fine, but at least acknowledge it. And take a step back, think for a little bit, maybe jot down some notes about what you could do and then go from there. The worst thing you could do is just start opening books, randomly opening websites, randomly opening your code editor and just trying to figure out things as you go. A lot of this is about being methodical, having a clear focus, okay? So that's a big part of it. Another thing that I've mentioned before, actually in my previous video, which I'll link up above here, is that you really need to get outside your comfort zone. I know, it sucks. Getting outside your comfort zone sucks because, let me put it this way. When you're learning to code, a lot of times you're just feeling dumb. Like you're getting a lot of feedback from the learning resources that you're using that you're dumb. You will try to go build a project and you're like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm dumb. So you're getting all this feedback. It's like, I'm dumb. I have no idea what I'm doing. And you feel like the dumbest person in the world. You feel like the only person who's ever felt this dumb when they went to code. When the truth is, it's not just you, homie. Like it's everybody. Like everybody who gets into this, unless you have a lot of previous experience in this, most everybody at some point will just feel like, wow, I have no idea how I'm ever gonna become a developer. And so what happens is you learn some tiny thing, or you're watching some tutorials over and over again and it feels so warm and nice and comfortable and you're like, this is so great, I'm just learning tons of knowledge, but you're not doing anything because you're staying within that comfort zone that you're so comfortable and used to. And it feels good, and in your mind you're telling yourself this is great. But then months go by and you look back and you've learned nothing, and you feel like you learned nothing because it was sort of like a false false positive, right? Like the whole time you felt like you were doing something, but really 3 months later, you have nothing to show for it. You can't really code your own project. You can't build your own project from scratch. And that's a really crappy feeling. So you have to go outside your comfort zone for prolonged periods of time. If you haven't built your first project yet, which I know a lot of you guys out there who've watched my videos, you've been studying a lot, but you haven't even built your first project, just do something small. Like do the stupidest, cheesiest, dumbest, smallest application that you could think of, right? Like whatever it is, it could be anything. It could be anything that you could think of. I tell people all the time, build those little calculator apps, build the to-do apps, build a digital clock. Like just do something small. They're not insignificant. That's just a small start. Even building something like a small clock, I've had students do it before. It is one of the biggest breakthroughs because they didn't even realize they could do something like that. And it starts to build up that small momentum to move them forward. So look, how you study matters. People talk a lot about the 10,000 hours, right? To become successful at a certain skill or something like that takes 10,000 hours. And so everyone thinks like, look, if I just read 10,000 hours of programming books, I'll be a programming whiz. And it's like, no, you have to follow a certain methodology to get better at this. And there's a really good book about this called Peak by Anders Ericsson. So I highly recommend getting that. That will help give you an idea of what deliberate practice is, what purposeful practice is. But it's the whole point here is that you will not get results if you just think that you're just gonna study all the time. Like studying is one part of many parts that you should be doing this. You should be more methodical. You should get outside of your comfort zone. You should be highly focused when you do this. So those are a lot of the principles that are gonna make you successful. Do not, and I swear to this, do not think that just because you sit down and put in time that's somehow gonna lead to you being successful. There has to be more to it, right? And I really highly recommend reading that book, Peak. But other than that, guys, I hope this video is helpful. This is a little ranty here, but I just had to get off my chest because I see it so often. And I really wanna help people. I really wanna get people out of this sort of cycle of just not making progress, sacrificing a lot of time and effort to make this happen, only to, for months to go by to not have anything come of it, right? So in other words, no job or anything like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. By the way, guys, I highly recommend if you are starting out with this, if you're new to programming, you're looking to get into this and you don't really know what programming language to choose, well, I've created a PDF called the Top 5 Programming Languages to Learn in 2019. I highly recommend downloading it. It's completely free. You can do that by going to the link in the description below and grabbing your copy of that. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching and have a great one. Peace out.